Everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Samsung Galaxy S23 FE and compare it against the Samsung Galaxy S23 and see which particular phone is the better one for you. Now, the thing I'll definitely tell you is, by all means, any way you look at it, get the Samsung Galaxy S23. It is a much better phone, and there's really not a reason why somebody should go buy the FE. If I'm being completely honest, the S23 is a much better phone when it comes down to it. So, if you want to pick up either one of these on Amazon, get the Galaxy S23. I'll link it down below. It's even cheaper than the FE right now, so there's not even a big point of buying this thing in the brand new market. Just buy one of these things on Amazon. You can help support the channel at the same time if you do that. Thank you so much. Now, starting off with the outside of both these, the Samsung Galaxy S23, which came out a little earlier this year, has a 6.1-inch dynamic AMOLED display on it. And it's a very good panel. It's 1080p, 120Hz, and although it's not like the best panel ever made, it's a very solid display. And I do think for this type of phone, for it coming from the S22, it was pretty much the same thing, but it's still a very good display. It's very bright, looks very nice as well, and I'm a big fan of this type of display for sure. Now, on the Samsung Galaxy S23 FE, it's a little bit of a different story. It's a bigger panel, so it's 6.4 inches. It's still dynamic island, still 120Hz. However, it's a little bit of a different thing. So it's a bigger panel, same resolution, but it gets a lot less bright than the S23. So keep that in mind. It's not as bright of a panel, but it's still very close. Now for the rest of the body, I would still say there's a lot of overlap here. Although there's a little bit difference of like the material kind of used between both, I definitely would say that between them, you're getting a very good device on both. You're getting this like reflective material on the S23, but the S23 FE is this like metallic, straight up just like stainless, whatever this is, aluminum material. So there's no reflective. Kind of reminds me more of like the iPhone 15 and like the iPhone 14 Pro, kind of a difference here, but same thing. At the top, basically the same type of thing. At the bottom, USB Type-C port on the Galaxy S23, and same thing with the FE as well. On the back side, it's a little bit of a different story here as well. Apparently the S23 FE has a glass back, which it kind of feels like a glass back kind of doesn't, like I don't know how to describe it. With the S23, it has a frosted glass back, a much better feeling back on the back of the Galaxy S23 over the FE. So keep that in mind. If you're wanting the device that's going to feel and look much better, the Galaxy S23 is going to be giving you that. Now, both phones have wireless charging, both phones have reverse wireless charging, which is really nice. So a lot of them have like a lot of overlap there. But I will probably tell you when it comes down to it, between both, you are getting very solid devices between them. And I think they hold up very well from that particular standpoint. I will tell you though, from everything that I kind of know, I think the S23 is the better feeling one, and it's the better one probably in every single area. But I think the FE is still very decent for what you're getting as well. So from that perspective, that kind of covers it up there. Now, in terms of software longevity, this is where things are a little complicated, because usually every single year they would have pretty much the same chipset. This year, the FE and the standard model that the FE is coming from, they actually have different chipsets. So this one has the chipset of last year, this one has a chipset of this year. So it complicates things a little further. I will probably tell you without a doubt, the Samsung Galaxy S23 is definitely going to be the longer lasting phone here over something like the Samsung Galaxy S23 FE. So that's kind of how it goes. It's not the world's biggest thing. It's not the biggest difference in the world, but it is going to be at least a year difference between them. So that's basically what's going to end up happening here. So that in and of itself is a really big thing to keep in mind. So, just keep that in mind in the back of your head. So that pretty much covers it up there. Now let's go and do speed comparison. The Galaxy S23 standard one has that Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset inside with 8GB of RAM, where the FE has that Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset inside with 8GB of RAM as well. So let's go and see which one's the faster phone between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are cleared out in the background. So let's get into it. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing. Camera 3, 2, 1. About the same thing too. Chrome 3, 2, 1. Okay, two different types of pop-ups here. Hopping out of both. Messages 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing. Play Store 3, 2, 1. Okay, this Samsung has been giving me so many like Wi-Fi issues. I don't know what to describe and don't know what to tell you. Hopping out of those two. Do we have any Google apps that don't take Wi-Fi? They all take Wi-Fi. Hopping out of these, we have some other applications we can test. X321. Okay, lots of different pop-ups here. Don't know what to make of that one. Snapchat 3, 2, 1. Okay, maybe S23 slightly faster. Loading up game launcher. Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Now this one could potentially be all over the place. One has Wi-Fi, one does not have Wi-Fi working. So it was about the same thing, not that big of a difference either. And I don't really think there's going to be a massive difference, to be completely honest. There's going to be some that are better than others, but hopping out of these ones, let's click play, 3, 2, 1. And this one seems to be pretty good, not really that big of a difference here either. Hopping out of these two, getting into Snake versus Blocks, 3, 2, 1. This is not that big of a game either, but it's going to be a small little one that I'm sure, basically the same thing too. So we're kind of seeing this thing where there's like basically a lot of overlap. There's not really one that's like exponentially way better than the other one, which I wasn't expecting there to be anyway. I would try Genshin Impact. I don't have it here. We'll try Temple Run 1, 3, 2, 1. But basically what I'm seeing is that for sure, without a doubt, you're definitely going to be getting a better, faster phone in the long run on something like the Galaxy S23, the standard one. This is going to be the one that's going to be giving you the better experience for the most part, almost every single time. And that's just kind of what happens. The reason for that is because it does have the better display, it has a better camera, it has better chipset, more, same amount of RAM, but better chipset. So that's a really big thing here. If you're wanting the phone that's going to be giving you a better experience, this is basically going to be the one, that I'm going to probably recommend majority of people to buy. So keep that in mind. Other than that, though, you can't really go wrong. From the performance side, they're very, very similar when it comes down to it. Now, another area that is really the most similar, but it's still kind of there, is the camera. You're getting a triple camera setup on both, and visually, they kind of look almost like the same type of camera. So I could see how some people would look at both these phones and be like, oh, they're like the same exact thing. I could see the confusion, but there's still a better camera on the Galaxy S23 in my opinion. On both, you're getting the wide, ultra-wide, and telephoto lens. Those are a really nice feature. 4K at 60 on the front and the back, 8K capability as well, which is really nice. Now, on the Galaxy S23, we're getting 8K on the back, which is a very, very nice feature. With a device like the Galaxy S23, this is going to be the better camera, at least in my opinion. This is the camera that's tried and true. You're probably getting some features with that new Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset that they threw in here as well. Zooming in, you have 30x. Don't just let that confuse you. Of course, this one also has 30x, 0.6x zoom on the outside. You're getting things like portrait mode, portrait video, and under more, you're getting a lot more options than a lot of other phones, maybe not necessarily compared to the FE, but you're still getting a lot of options here, which is a very, very nice feature. It's a very nice touch. Having a phone like the S23 is very nice, and I, for one, I'm a massive fan of this type of lens. So without a doubt, the S23 I think has a better camera, but the FE is still a very decent phone. Like, this is still a very, very good phone when it comes down to it. And like I said before, I'm a big fan of this type of camera. So zooming in, you're getting 30x zoom, which is very nice. 0.6x zoom, it's the same thing as the S23, but like I said, don't let that confuse you. I wouldn't let that be the deterrent factor or anything. Portrait video is very nice to have. Video mode here, and you're getting more options here, as you probably would have figured. But I will tell you, in my opinion, having a phone like the Galaxy S23 FE, it's a great camera. I'm a big fan of it, but I'm still a bigger fan of the S23, and I think that would probably be the one I would recommend a majority more people to buy than like this particular phone. Again, you're getting 8K capability here too, which is nice, but I don't know. I definitely do think the S23 FE's camera is good, but the S23's is better. And that's kind of how I'd sum it up. I like the FE camera. I think it's great. I think this phone is good, but it's overpriced. The fact that it's more expensive on Amazon than the S23 just doesn't make any sense to buy this phone at all. I understand the battery life and everything, but like even then, I look at a phone like the Galaxy S23 as being the better one still. There's a couple things I don't like about this phone. I've been having really weird issues overall with it, but I do think it's the better phone overall, and I'm a much bigger fan of the S23 than I am of the S23 FE. Although the FE is still a great phone, I like the S23 more. So buy this one. You don't have to buy the FE if you don't want to. So that pretty much covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.